All right, everybody, welcome back. If you are new tonight, welcome. If you came last night, thanks so much for coming back. It's going to be the same as last night. So Natalie is kind of watching everything on Facebook for me. She's pulling up the questions and she will send them to me. And I'm going to try to monitor the chat box here tonight on Zoom. So we will go ahead and get started. So in the Summer Store Challenge, we are going to be talking about, there are two different modules. There's going to be, and I'll tell you why I split them up, but there's going to be phonological awareness and phonemic awareness. For the purpose of tonight's live, I put them together. But the reason I separate them is because I feel like there are, while they're under the same umbrella, phonological awareness has some early skills such as rhyming and syllables and sentence segmentation that we can really kind of push in towards the beginning of the year with our students. And then the most important component, phonemic awareness, is something that I have changed my opinion on over just even over the last year. So when I was in last year, when COVID hit, I had to teach kindergarten to help kind of reduce our class size. And so when I was teaching kindergarten, I realized that with our current program, we had huge gaps in phonemic awareness. And what I noticed was, and you'll also see this when we talk about letters and sounds, is that we were going through our letter and sound continuum and we were teaching all of the consonants. And then we were teaching the vowels. And then we were going in and teaching phonemic awareness. So it just wasn't meshing. And so that's why this year with my kindergarten teachers, we've kind of started to separate the two. We understand that that phonological awareness is that umbrella term and phonemic awareness falls underneath it. But we have started teaching those, what we call prerequisite skills of phonological awareness early on in the year, so that by the time the students have some letters and sounds under their belt, they are ready to not just orally blend and segment phonemes, but they are also able to do that in print, which we know then turns into phonics. So that just gives you a little background. So we're going to talk about Module 2 first, which is phonological awareness. And as I said, it's this umbrella term. If you look on the left side, we have the rhyming, we have syllables and word awareness, also known as sentence segmentation. And then and those are those prerequisite skills that I was talking about. And then we have blending on the right-hand side, blending, segmenting, addition, deletion, and substitution. And so we're going to look at phonological awareness first, and we're going to talk about the difference. So phonological awareness is the awareness of sound structures in words. So it's the ability to identify and produce rhyming words. It's the ability to hear a word and be able to count its syllables. It's also the ability to be able to blend syllables. And we'll talk a little bit about that next. And it's the ability to not only be able to repeat words that are said to you in a sentence, but also to be able to see that or understand that there's that white space between words when we do move it into print. So let's take a look at word awareness first. So there are three different levels of word awareness. So the first level is being able to repeat the sentence. And this is where we start early kindergarten, even in preschool. And what we want to do is they may not be ready to count how many words are in a sentence, but we can warm them up and start teaching them to repeat our sentences. So it might go something like this. Repeat after me. I like to eat pizza. What's my sentence? I like to eat pizza. And we use all kinds of fun manipulatives. I got this microphone. I don't know if you guys, I had them when I was little and I found them on Amazon. So I got a couple of those and we use those. I also printed off and I'm giving away 2 of those phonological awareness kits. And we just took a little microphone and we glued it to a popsicle stick, and each student has their, someone says they have one of these. That's great. Oh, okay. I'm glad you listened to the recording. And so we just glue them on the popsicle sticks, right? And so they have them in their little kit. Each kindergarten group has their kit, and everything they need is inside. And so we will start with just having them repeat their sentences. They get out their microphone. I like to eat pizza. Repeat after me. I like to eat pizza. After that, we move into sentence segmentation. So that's really where we want them to start counting the words they hear in a sentence. So they're going to have to kind of start to understand syllables a little bit, which is why you want to make sure that you're teaching syllables as well. And so I like to eat pizza. How many words in my sentence? 5. So you can have them count. You can have them pound out the words in a sentence. I like to eat pizza. You can also give them chips and have them push up a chip for each word that they hear. And so then level 3 of word awareness or sentence segmentation is really being able to, once they're in print, to be able to identify that white space between words, because that is how they're going to form that concept of word and that concept of print. I've got 2 people in the waiting room. I'm going to try to admit them in real quick. All right, let's take a look at rhyming. There are also 3 levels for rhyming. And so as you could probably guess, it is repeat the rhyme is the very first step. So you're just warming them up. If they've never been exposed to this, if they've never, if they're coming into kindergarten and they have never had their parents read rhyming books to them, they have no concept of what rhyme is, then you want to kind of warm them up just by saying, okay, listen, we're going to talk about rhyming words. Listen, cat, mat. Say that with me, cat, mat. Those words rhyme. And then you want to go into being able to identify the rhyme. And identifying the rhyme goes something like this. I want you to listen carefully to the words that I say, and I want you to tell me which ones rhyme. Listen carefully. Cat, mat, cat, log. Which 2 rhyme? And you want them to say cat, mat. And then the highest level of rhyme is rhyme production. And so that's when you just say, can you give me a word that rhymes with cat? And they all say mat. And when we're looking at syllables, there are also 3 levels of syllables. We start with compound words because that's easier for students. And so when you're thinking about compound words, you just have them clap out those compound words. So like football. And then you want to move into syllable blending. And so syllable blending is when you, hang on, I think I got to admit one more person. And Marianne's asking a question about rhyme. So she says, do you have any tips for teaching rhyme to English language learners? I am having trouble getting my students to understand rhyme. I will tell you, and this is kind of when I start talking about phonemic awareness a little bit with you guys, this is kind of where I had to take a step back and say, I really want my students to be able to rhyme. And it used to be that you had to kind of follow that continuum and you didn't move on until they had all of the skills. So it was like the building blocks that built up to phonemic awareness. And now, honestly, Marianne, at the beginning of the year, I introduce it. I spiral back. I keep working on it. I keep reading books that rhyme. We talk about them. But I don't spend a ton of time on rhyme because sometimes they just don't understand that we're playing and working with words. And then once we kind of get into phonics and we are blending and we're segmenting and we're looking at word families, it just clicks for them. And so definitely teach it, definitely expose them to it, but don't spend so much time on rhyme that you don't take time to get on to the blending and segmenting, which we know is really important. Okay, good. All right. So, and then you want to do syllable blending. So I would say, okay, listen to my word. I'm going to break it into parts and I want you to tell me what my word is. So I might say pumpkin. They blend it back together and they say pumpkin. And then the final level of syllables would be that syllable segmentation. And so that's when they are going to either pound out the syllables, they're going to clap out the syllables, they're going to push up a chip for however many syllables are in the words. They might also want to, or you might also give them, we give them little unifix cubes and they have to kind of stack how many syllables are in the word. And so The reason that we want them to understand rhyme because when they go into print, then we want them to be able, if they can spell cat, they can spell rat, they can spell mat, they can spell sat. And so it's important for them to have that prerequisite skill. And the reason we want them to understand syllables is because once they get into multisyllabic words and we're teaching them the syllable types, we want them to really understand what a syllable is and where to break that, where that division comes in. All right, so that was Fast and Furious for Module 2, and it was all about phonological awareness. And I want to stop right here and I want to see if there are any questions. And then I also want to just kind of quickly share with you what it looks like in our kindergarten classroom. So Natalie, do you have any questions on Facebook? There's a little bit of a lag time with Zoom and Facebook, so I'm going to give her just a second. All right, while she's coming through with the questions, I'm going to share with you. Oh, here they are. Let's do this first. Okay. Heather says she likes to have kids jump for a word in the sentence. I think that's a great idea, Heather. And you can also, something that I did in kindergarten last year is I would have them, if they were on the carpet with me, then I would have them stand up and we would take one step for each syllable in the word. So if the word was pumpkin, they would step pumpkin, 2 steps, and they would take however many steps and however many syllables they needed to until they got back to their seat, and they enjoyed that. Jessica says spiraling back is key. Going back, yes, you always want to go back. And I'm actually working on, and I'm going to show you guys my whole group because we always spiral back. And Carrie says, thanks for the various levels within each skill. Yeah, and that's something when I first started teaching, I was like, okay, so I'm going to teach them how to rhyme. And when they couldn't rhyme, I didn't understand. It was because I didn't start back with those prerequisites with them. And am I able to share my slides? I can I'll make sure that you guys get the recording for this. What if the student isn't repeating the word correctly in a sentence they are repeating? And how much do I spend on pronunciation? Okay, so sometimes it's a working memory issue, and sometimes they aren't able to repeat the sentence. And so you would have to shorten your sentence. And I actually have a sheet that I can share that kind of walks you through like what to do if a student is struggling. And it's more for dictation, but I think this would also help with just repeating the sentences for sentence segmentation. All right, so let's take a look at what we do in kindergarten. So we have a kit for our kindergartners, and inside the kit, they have an alphabet chart. They have, this is more for phonics, but they have their vowel sticks for their vowel intensive. We have our, I'm going to see if I can stop my share so you guys can see me a little bit better. Okay, we have the microphones for repeating sentences. We have some Unifix cubes in there for them to stack the number of syllables they hear. And then we just play games. And so we will put things on the active board for them, and they'll have 2 pictures and they'll have to identify the rhyme. And so we do that the first couple weeks of school. And we do it the first couple weeks of school because we're all just trying to get in our routine. We're testing the kids. We're trying to, figure out what kids go in what group. And so it's a great time to really bring in those prerequisite skills. It's a good time to do it during your whole group carpet time. Kids love to be able to clap out syllables. They love to be able, like Heather said, to stand up or sit down for the number of sentences. And so we spend a lot of time kind of front loading all of that information the first couple weeks of school. I think it's like the first 4 or 5 weeks of school. And then we go straight into phonemic awareness, because when our students are able to have a few consonants and a vowel under their belt, we want them to be confident in orally blending and segmenting their phonemes so that we can put them into print when they're ready. And so if they're able to do it orally, then we can plump them right in and we can start with the phonics once they have a couple of those letter names and sounds. right, I'm gonna check for one more question. So Dorothy says she spends a couple minutes each day, and it's made such a difference. Yeah, and I just shared also in my on one of my reels, I really didn't think that phonological awareness was important. I thought it was something that the preschool teachers did, and it was something that I didn't need to do and I didn't need to spend time on. And if I could go back and teach that first group of first graders again, oh, the things I would do differently. And I'm sure you guys have a similar story. And I just hate it. And those kids right now are currently graduating from high school this year. They're seniors. And so I've really been thinking about them and thinking, man, what would I have done differently? But I say, if you know better, you do better. And in that, at that time, I thought I was doing what was best for them. So, but I do wish I could go back. Carrie says she would love to see the sheet. She has 3 first grade that struggle with counting more than 4 words in a sentence. Yes. All right. So let me share my screen and go back to, let's talk about phonemic awareness. Marianne asked if, yes, so all of these things I'm talking about are in the Route to Reading. They're inside that Route to Reading membership. And I'm going to show you guys, because I had a lot of questions about it. If we have time this after or tonight, I'm going to just show you like a little sneak peek of what it looks like in there so you can see it. So let's talk about phonemic awareness, and then I'll go in and I'll show you guys what that looks like. All right, so phonemic awareness. Phonemic awareness is the ability to hear, identify, and manipulate those individual sounds and words. And that is blending, that's segmenting, that's addition, deletion, and substitution. So blending phonemes is when the teacher says to the student, listen carefully, my word is p, ig, and the students have to say pig. And it's funny because I put a pig here because I have, if you follow me long enough, my best friend in the whole world is Penelope the pig, and she's a puppet. And that is how I start blending with my students. I have a puppet, and I tell my students that she's a pig and she doesn't speak like a human. And so we really have to listen carefully to figure out what it is that she's saying. And so I will have her segment the word pig, and the students have to blend it back together, and they love it. So then segmenting is the complete opposite. So if I say to the students, listen carefully, my word is net, then they have to be able to sound out the word et. And you can I use these segmentation boxes with them, and they have chips, and they just have to push up et. And I'll pull this up on the screen for you guys when we finish talking about it, so you guys can see some of these activities. But the nice thing about the segment and write boxes is they have those, and so they're doing them orally. And then when you're ready to add the letter sounds, they're already familiar with the activity. So all they have to do then is push up as they segment, and then they write the corresponding sounds underneath. So phoneme addition is if you take a word and you tell the students, my word is top, say top. Now say top again, but add a s at the beginning. The new word is stop. And then phoneme deletion is the opposite. So if I say my word is clock, say clock. Now say clock again, but take off the k. What's the word? Lock. And then substitution is the highest level. So you take a word like sank and you say sank. Now change the s to a t. The new word is tank. And so I'm sure that you guys probably follow my friend Savannah Campbell, and we were talking one night, and she said to me, she said, and it was right when, I don't know if you've heard about the article that was released, and it was talking about phonemic awareness and whether like those higher advanced skills were really important. And the title of the article was something like, they say you can do phonemic awareness in the dark, but should you? And it was going back to, are these higher, basically the summary of the article was, are these higher levels of phonemic awareness really important to do orally, or should we be doing them in print? And so anyway, Savannah and I were talking about it, and she said students cannot do in print what they are unable to do orally. And it makes so much sense because they absolutely need the oral piece of it, but it's just a matter of how much of it do they need? Are we spending 10 minutes doing it, or are we doing a quick warm up and then we're plugging it into print? And that's what's important. Natalie's sending me a question. Yes, Kristen says she needs activities to make it fun and engaging, and it can be fun and engaging. And that's why it's one of my favorite things to teach, is because there's so many different ways you can make it fun. Poppets and fidgets. Yes, they are wonderful. We love poppets. We love fidgets. We have slinkies. We use slinkies all the time. And Heather says she is part of the membership. Hey, Heather. Yeah, Tiffany says we were doing phoneme deletion and some kids just can't do it. Yeah, and it's tricky, and it's really tricky to do orally. And so adding in manipulatives will help. You don't want the manipulatives to become a crutch for them, but we definitely use them a lot in kindergarten and early first grade, just because it helps them and it's a support for them. And we want to gradually remove that support, because we obviously want them to be able to do it without it, but we have to make it fun and engaging for them. And we have to kind of provide that as a scaffold. All right, and so here's the article I was talking about, and I've linked this also inside the membership. I've linked the article for you, but they say you can do phonemic awareness in the dark, but should you? And so this is where I kind of want to talk to you guys about those advanced phonemic awareness skills. And so what I want us to look at is something like word building, and I'm going to try to switch over my screen to show you the word building. I've got to plug in my camera because I only have so many plugs on my computer, so hang tight. See if we can get it to work for you. All right. All right, so you should be able to see, just let me know, somebody let me know in the chat box if you can see my document camera. Okay, and I don't want to get too far into this because we're going to talk about this with phonics, but I just want to show you what I mean by, or what I think they mean by, you can do it in the dark, but should you? So when we're looking at an activity like word building, and these are the word building cards that I use. Word building, word chaining, I use them interchangeably. The correct term for them is actually word chaining. And so what you do with word chaining is you change one sound at a time. So these are the teacher cards. And so say I was working on short I with my students. So I would say, spell the word pit. And so they're going to take the letters they need and they're going to pull down to spell the word pit. And then I'm going to have them sound it out. So now they're segmenting. It, pit. And then they blend it back together. And then I'm going to go to the next word on my card and I'm going to say, okay, I want you to change one sound to make the new word fit. Fit. So now they're deleting. And now they're substituting. They're going to segment it and blend it back together. And so you can have them add a sound. You can say, all right, add us. What's the new word? Fits. You can have them delete a sound. Okay, take away the, now what word do you have? It. And so that is what I perceive that the article was all about. It was about being able to, yes, teach it orally, but also apply it to phonics as quickly as possible. And I wanted to show you guys this up close. This is the segment and write that we use for blending and segmenting. So if the word was cat, they would take a chip at, so that when they go into print, then they're moving into print. So they're familiar with the activity because they've been doing that orally. And now they just add the letter sounds. All right. Let's see. Go back to my screen. All right, and that is it. So I'm going to do the giveaways again first, because I know some of you guys do not want to have to stay on. So I'll do the giveaways, and I'm going to go in really, really quickly. I just want to show you because I had some questions about what it looks like inside, so you guys can see that too. Over here so you guys can. Natalie, while I'm doing this, if you'll go ahead and send me, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and plug them in and Natalie will send them over to me. All right. So I went around and around trying to decide whether to offer the summer SOAR as a course or to put it into the membership. And I just decided that really what I wanted for people is to be able to have professional development at their fingertips this summer. I wanted it to be a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week access, because our summers are really the only time that we have to relax a little bit, right? And so we don't want to have to feel like we have to take a course right when it's offered. So I decided to put it inside the membership. All right, I think everybody can see my screen. And so this is what it looks like inside our typical Route to Reading membership. So we have our early access materials, all the membership details. We have our materials. So let's go in. We have pop-up PDs. Let's go into February. So February, we talked about phonemic awareness and letter sounds. And so what you have is a video that describes the intervention lesson and activities for the month. And then you can download your freebies that are in there. So you get your digital downloads, and then you have a video of me sharing how it works. And so that's all in there. And if you decide to become a member and join us, you get access to everything that's already in there. We also have a video resource library, which I just added. And so in there are, so for example, the auditory drills. You can go in, there's a video of my daughter doing the auditory drill, and it talks about the purpose and it gives an example. And then all of the PDFs are in there. I don't think I can, because I'm not in as a member, I can't click and download that. And then I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek really, really quickly of the summer SOAR. It's not unlocked yet, so I have to go in this way. All right, so here it is. So everything is here. So let's go in. We did module 2 and 3 today. We just did the video at the top. And so what you have in there is you have information about phonological awareness. You have more videos about phonological awareness. There are activities that you can download. There's a quiz where you can kind of quiz yourself to see how you did. You can go back and do it again. Same thing for phonemic awareness. It's very much the same kind of outline. And then letter sounds we're going to talk about tomorrow. So it talks about the alphabetic principle. There's a video. I show you how to pronounce the letter sounds. I show you how to form the different letters. We talk about auditory drills, and then it's kind of the same thing. You've got your letter sound activities here, and you can take the quiz. And so that is what it looks like inside the membership. So I'm going to stop my share and I want to do our giveaways now. Are there any questions? I think everybody can see me now. Natalie, did you have any questions? All right, so Mary says, do I do these activities in whole group or small group? So we do both. We decide at the beginning of the year when we look at our phonics curriculum, our phonological awareness curriculum, we decide at the beginning of the year, okay, this is where they need to be, say in kindergarten, this is where they need to be in first grade. And we map out the year so that we know that we're covering everything and that our students are being exposed to everything in whole group. And then we meet them where they are in small groups. So you can do these activities in whole group, but you can also take it into small group. So the difference in the literacy club, so the literacy club is just, you're on my email list and I send you all the goodies. The Route to Reading membership is a membership that is ongoing, and we have monthly Q&As, we have pop-up PDs, you have your resource library. That's what I just showed you was the Route to Reading membership. Thank you, Leah. All right, Natalie's sending me some questions and then I'm gonna let's do the giveaway first, Natalie. Can you give me a name from Facebook? Yes, yes. I feel like we are when I went to college, I just kind of felt like I learned, but I feel like I've learned so much more just by researching and doing it on my own. All right, so our first giveaway from Facebook is Tiffany. Tiffany, are you still here?
Yes.
Okay, Tiffany, if you will email me at amy@literacyadventures.com, I'm going to send you kits 1 and 2 of my phonological awareness kit. And then I'm going to pull one from Zoom also. All right, Patricia, Olive, you came up on my wheel. Are you still here? Hey, Patricia, email me and I will send you kits 1 and 2. So kit 1 is phonological awareness and kit 2 is phonemic awareness. So you can email me at amy@literacyadventures.com. All right. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to stay on and answer questions. I don't want you guys to feel like you have to stay on. If you want to stay on, you're welcome to stay on, and I'll answer any questions that you have. But thank you so much. Tomorrow, we're going to talk all about letters and sounds. I'm going to show you how to merge the phonemic awareness with the letter sounds. Yes. So Tara asked if the exercises are good for one-on-one. Yep. So in the kit, you guys have like the teacher card and then the student cards. So they'd be great for that. Thank you guys. Thank you. Natalie, do you have any other questions on Facebook? Bye, Mary. See you tomorrow. Thank you guys. Bye. Bye, Lisa. Thank you. Bye, Denise. Thanks, Natalie. I love your earrings. I love those. They're so fun.